Good morning, everybody. I hope you guys are starting to feel a little cooler temperatures. Last night I actually had to put a sweater on to come work in the garden. I know that sounds crazy. It's just been so hot, and I'm so relieved that we're finally getting a little bit of cooler breezes, at least in the morning and in the evening. We are getting ready to leave on a New England trip with our family and our motorhome. So I'm going to show you what we are planning to do with our garden while we're gone, and the seeds I've already started to plant when we get back, and some of the little work I've been working nonstop for the last week and a half on preparing my beds and getting our just changing out soil in our GreenStalk gardens and getting our new GreenStalk garden set up. So I wanted to start over here on our Vego garden beds. We have some sweet potatoes. These actually were planted super late in the season, so I really don't know what they're going to do, but they'll certainly look really pretty, kind of flowing out the side here. And I've got a squash that I just started from seed. We have some parsley, a blanket flower here. These are so pretty. I hadn't never planted these before until this year, but I definitely will be planting more. They attract butterflies and bumblebees, and it just looks really pretty in here. So back here we have some basil. I had a basil plant in this GreenStalk garden. As you can see, I removed everything from this garden. So anything that was kind of flourishing, I transplanted somewhere else. I wasn't happy with the soil I originally put in this particular tower and these two towers. I got a really cheap soil, which is not what I suggest to anybody. So I've got some really nice soil in there now to get ready to plant for fall. And hopefully that will allow us to get nicer drainage and lusher plants for the year. I have over here a ginger plant, but look at this. I don't know if you can see this. I did purchase a newer phone, hoping that you guys can see things better, but this is starting to flower here. This is pretty neat. So this was actually started from just a ginger root from the store. And this is a turmeric. I've been saying turmeric all these times, and finally someone corrected me. I've always said turmeric, but it's turmeric. Anyways, these were planted from some roots that I had saved from the year before, and I do have a video on how to harvest and plant these in one of my short videos if you want to check that out. But I plan on doing the same thing for my ginger plant here. Probably will end up harvesting this when we get back. Over here we have our beautiful butterfly peas, and these have been so much fun. This is the first year I've grown them. We've been making all kinds of butterfly pea tea. You can actually pick one of these flowers and put it in rice and it turns blue. We have made tea where it starts off purple and then goes to blue. It's so fun. The girls love it. And they are full of antioxidants. So we just throw a leaf or two in our tea that we're making from our other herbs in the garden. And here's our other Vego garden bed. Back here we have some collard greens. These are actually called Bonnie's Choice. And these typically can be found at your box stores. I found they really grow beautifully. They're not real thin, they're like a thicker leaf, and they grow kind of like a high up, like a cabbage, not droop down. So I'm excited to grow these again. Typically I start the majority of my garden from seed, but those are some plants that I really enjoy, and just to get that instant gratification of something in the garden looking like it's lush, I always like to add those in. Over here I just raked back my mulch and put down some fresh soil, and I mix the soil with seed germinating soil. So anytime I'm direct sowing something tiny like carrot seeds or beets or anything like beans or peas, I always put fresh soil down and then also mix it with germinating soil. So I had planted a bunch of rainbow carrots here, so let's hope they germinate. I started a little later than usual because typically in the past I've started too early and my seeds will just fry up in the heat. So hopefully those will germinate. So over here is my newly planted GreenStalk garden. And as you guys know, I love my GreenStalk gardens, and I did become an affiliate because I loved their gardens so much. So you can save $10 off of any of your orders now or in the future with code SD10. They have a 5-year warranty. I absolutely love their product. Made in America with a small family business. They're so kind and sweet. But we have all kinds of different kinds of flowers for pops of color. I'm propagating a rosemary in here. We got a little coleus here, cilantro. I'm propagating some oregano from my garden. I think this is lemon verbatim, some more oregano back here. I even put some aloe in here. So if a kid needs some aloe, they can just quickly come out. They don't have to run into the garden because our aloe plants are way over there. So at any time of the day, we can just flip a light on and walk outside and get any kind of herb we want for our cooking in our kitchen. So we've got some spearmint and oregano here. I even have some calamine I found. I also started some seeds back here in these back pockets, so while we're gone, hopefully we'll get some dill, some thyme, and some tarragon there. I also have some chives growing here. So most of these plants in here I purchased from the store. Just get something that with an instant gratification in the garden. So that's actually the only thing that's fully planted right now. I'm gonna take you out here into our other garden. My goal this year is to plant more food in our GreenStalk gardens and our raised beds and do more flowers and vining things like pumpkins and cantaloupes down in here. We typically grow those vining mega space taker uppers out in our food forest, but we only run our irrigation out there every 3 days, and they just thrive better here because we're running the irrigation every day. But I wanted to show you my salsa garden because this is fully planted as well. So over here I had started some bell peppers from seed and some of those small Siam tomatoes that I had saved the seeds from my last tomato plants. Those are the small variety. They get about this tall and they give off a ton of tomatoes. So we start with peppers, then 2 tiers of tomatoes. Then I've got some flowers for pops of color. This also helps repel like different types of biting flies and white flies and such. Then I have cilantro on this tier. We love cilantro. And then I really wanted to put onion bulbs at the top. So then I had everything I needed for my salsa garden. But onion bulbs won't be available for another few weeks at my garden center. So I went ahead and direct sowed some bunching onions up top just to see if while I'm gone they will germinate. We will see. And if not, when I get back, we will plug in our onions up top. So over here is our Seminole pumpkin patch. And it is, my pumpkins have never done this well. I really feel like I've got my bug control, my fertilizing, and everything down over the last 8 years of planting and growing food. We've had a really wet summer. We actually had some torrential rain last week where we just got like 3 inches in like an hour. So I'm thankful I didn't have anything planted in the garden because it even tore up this lettuce, which I hadn't even planted yet, but it just ripped it to pieces. I'm surprised it's still alive. So thankfully we didn't have anything in the garden, but I do want to get in here and show you one of my pumpkins. It's even growing way up here. So here is what our Seminole pumpkins look like in the beginning stages. I actually self-pollinated this one. I'll be putting a short video together on how to self-pollinate here, so keep an eye out for that. But check this out. Look at that. So I can't wait to get back and see what other pumpkins we have growing. We have some others that are about this size and a little bit bigger in there, but I can't stomp through here to show you that. But I can't wait to see that. So over here are some of the seedlings and seeds that we have planted for our fall garden that will stay right here over an irrigation overhead sprayer while we're gone. So hopefully they'll do just fine. I do have a gardening friend who helps check on my garden while we're gone, and I do the same for her when she's gone. So I do want to show you my eggplant. Little seedling. It's finally popping up. I honestly gave up on these guys because I planted these August 20th, and it has been so long. I really didn't think they were going to germinate, but here we go. They finally germinated. So we have some peppers growing, some hot peppers, we have hot peppers, and then bell peppers. I also have some marigolds and some butterfly weed over here. We have some of my favorite tomatoes. These are called money makers. We had the money makers in that garden bed over there. Last year I had 2, and I just got bags and bags and bags of tomatoes. I decided to plant a couple extra this year. I do have some tea leaf seeds here that usually take a couple months to germinate. And then we have some extra squash plants that I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet with, some oregano, and I propagated some flowers. So over on this side, last night I actually started some dinosaur kale, some dwarfed kale, and bok choy. These are like some of my top favorite things to grow in the fall, along with collard greens. And I thought maybe I'll just start them when I get back, because I was worried they may not be tended to well while I was gone, and they would probably have to be thinned out, because I do usually put a few seeds in here. But I think we'll be fine. I hope my garden neighbor will be happy to do some of that stuff while I'm gone. I just hate giving extra work to anyone that's helping out while we're gone. But this is what we are starting while we're gone, and I can't wait to show you what those look like when we get back. The garden is probably going to be full of weeds, but that's okay. We'll take care of that when we get back. Oh, I forgot to show you guys. This is the one thing I left in this tower after I changed out the soil because it was doing so well. This is a squash plant, and look at all the flowers. And we've got a couple squash over here. So we'll just leave that here. I've got another squash over here. This is actually a scallop squash right there. And we got our regular strawberry tower over here, which is finally looking a little bit more healthier now that the heat is gone away. And then we got our sweet potatoes on the bottom here. So in the next couple months, they'll actually start shooting off some fruit. We did plant some sunflowers here. They were quite leggy before we planted them because we did take a 1-week vacation several weeks ago at the end of the summer with the family, and they just got leggy while we left, but I planted them anyway just to see what they did. And then over here are some butter bean plants that we planted. These are called Alabama butter beans. I've never grown them before, so I'm kind of excited to see how those will do. And these are the remaining collard green plants from last year. And they're the only ones that have survived because this is our more shadier garden. Anything that was in that 8 to 10 hour garden over there has died and shriveled up. So at least we'll allow those to grow and produce us some food while we're waiting on our other collard greens to produce. We are getting some blueberries. I'll show you those. I always forget to show you guys, but we have this is longevity spinach, and I have some aquana spinach. I'm not even saying that right, but it's like a purple underleaf. It looks like longevity, which I thought was longevity spinach. Aquanana, I'm not quite sure, so somebody help me there. But we have some blueberries coming in. We have 40 to 50 plants around our garden. But look at those flowers. Aren't they pretty? They're so pretty. Hopefully we can keep the squirrels off them this year. Here's some right here. So I think this sums up these gardens. And I'm going to show you my backyard garden while we're here. So here's my backyard weed garden and chicken garden over here. But we grow our sweet potatoes in containers. And when we found out we can grow them in the GreenStalk garden, we had put some in there as well. So these will be super easy to harvest. We'll just dump it out on a tarp and then put the soil back in our buckets. So those are doing really good. We have some okra growing here. It's about the end of season for those. And over here, I'm excited to show you guys my new asparagus garden. Now this I've had for at least 7 years, and I had it in the garden and I removed it from the garden because it was just hard to keep weeds out of them. Then I put it in a container and it sat back here in the backyard garden forever with just full of weeds and everything. So finally I got this plugged in here with a ton of mulch, hoping that I'm not going to have to deal with a ton of weeds. But you can see I have asparagus popping up. And actually these were asparagus 2 days ago that I went to seed that I didn't catch. So these guys grow so fast. So if you're not out here every single day, look at that. They will, oh, look at this one. Oh, hope you guys can see this. Look at that asparagus. Isn't that awesome? But literally, you have to come out every day and just harvest them when they're, I don't know, 5 or 6 inches, because overnight they'll go to seed. So this has been fun. Sometimes if I just see one that's ready, I'll just eat it raw, straight from the garden. So these will put out seeds for the following years, and hopefully we'll have an abundance of asparagus here. So I also planted some squash over here. We grew some big squash plants out of this garden last year. So figured I'd throw them in there and see what they did. So what I'm gonna do is drop a video in the description below to show you how I mend my soil every year. So you can find all the products that I use to mend my soil that I absolutely love and have been using for the past couple years. I'm also going to try to create a short video for you guys and show you how I use Neptune's Harvest products. It's a fertilizer. I foliar feed with their product, and I also mix it with their garlic barrier to kind of keep the deer and rabbits away, and some spinosad, all into a sprayer, and just spray that on top of my leaves. But then I also drench my soil with Neptune's Harvest. I am one of their affiliates because I did love their products so much, and you can save 5% off of all their products on their website, and I'll put the affiliate link in the description below. I don't think I showed y'all my butternut squash, but I am going to be planting butternut squash today as well. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. I can't wait to show you what this looks like when we get back. I will not pull a weed. I'll just show you what it looks like, and so you guys can kind of see what a garden looks like unattended for a few weeks. I hope you guys have a wonderful start to your fall, and please let me know if you have any questions. I'd love to know what you are planting for fall in the description below.